This is my audience. Hello, my name is Gage, and my topic is the death penalty, and just like why I think it's wrong. So, the Webster Dictionary defines the death penalty as punishment given by a court of law for very serious crimes. Well, in the world today, 31 states of the U.S., basically a third of the world, use the death penalty as a punishment on criminals. Oklahoma is one of the states that use the death penalty on their inmates. Capital punishment used to be enforced in multiple ways, but now it's only used mainly through lethal injection. This was not always the best mechanism because the drugs used to create a long, painful death for prisoners, but that is not the case anymore because it is the least painful method. There are 19 states that have legalized the death penalty because the majority of the people in today's society do not believe in capital punishment as the best option for prisoners. The two main reasons that capital punishment is such an issue today, and many that believe it is cruel and unusual punishment, and whether or not it should be in the court's decision for a person to live or not. For the rest of 31 states, they continue to use the death penalty because they find that to be the most effective method. While those are a couple of reasons why capital punishment should not be enforced, dropping crime rate punishment inmates are a few reasons why capital punishment should be legal. Why everyone has an opinion about the death penalty, most do not know the specifics or how it's carried out. 19 of the 50 states have abolished it, but for those that still use it, lethal injection is the primary method, and then lethal injection is a certain drug that is injected into the inmates to kill them in the least painful way possible and as quick as possible. States use a variety of protocols, using 1, 2, or 3 drugs. 3-drug protocol uses an anesthetic or sedative, typically followed by a drug to paralyze the inmate and stop their heart. Almost all the states do use lethal injection. 9 of the states are authorized to use electrocution, 6 are authorized to use the gas chamber, and 3 are authorized to use hanging. And another 3 are authorized to use firing squad. In Oklahoma alone, they have lethal injection as their primary method of the death penalty. But it is authorized to use electrocution, firing squad, and gas chamber as well. Although there are a lot of methods, lethal injection is used to make it fair for every inmate going through the process. It has been shown that there is no problem that certain people get a certain treatment. DeathPenaltyInfo.org shows that 42% of inmates are white and 42% of inmates are black, and the other percentage of inmates on death row are different races, but it is split evenly between black and white. Although each state, in their views on execution, most states have common crimes that are punishable by the death penalty. The death penalty in the United States is almost exclusively for the crime of murder. Although state and federal capital crimes, other than those involving the death of the victim, only 2 people were on death row for a non-murder offense. There are not many inmates that get put on death row, but if they are on death row, they are on death row for a long period of time. A prisoner can stay on death row for a decade or up to 20 years. Although it may seem like a long time to adults, that's not a very long time for juveniles, but juveniles are not allowed to be put on death row. Women, for a little bit, were not placed on death row, but that's no longer the case. As of October 1st, 2016, there were 54 women on death row. That constitutes 1.86 of the total death row population. Out of all the crimes, not very many people are placed on death row. And it has not been an issue for women to be given the death penalty. The hardest part of deciding who can be put to death row and who cannot. Some people believe the death penalty should not be allowed because it is unjust for anyone to be put on death row. In the states, it states in the 8th Amendment that cruel and unusual punishment cannot be inflicted, and that can be the case with the death penalty. So, the first thing that comes to mind, it is very expensive to kill a human in the most humane method possible, and is very expensive. Those are just some of the things on the death penalty, and I think it is just too expensive, and there's the chance that you could be sending an innocent person to die, so it's better to just let them live.